Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome to a best of 5 series of top-level StarCraft 2. It's time for a Terran versus Zerg, where we're starting off on good old Mothership, a Protoss map. A Terran versus Zerg on a Protoss map? I guess we have to forget about that part. Spotting right here in the bottom section of it, playing with the little polar bear on the main command center. You know him, you love him. We have none other than Clem. His opponent all the way in the upper left, playing in blue from South Korea. We're looking at Solar's main hatchery. Alrighty, let's find out together exactly what ended up going down between these two legends. In my mind, Clem is an absolute Zerg destroyer. It's a little weird, right? Because when you look at, for example, Clem going up against Cyril, I would say he's probably ever so slightly favored in that particular matchup. He's probably like 45 or so favored against Cyril. I think that's fair. At the very least, if you look at their historical results over the last bunch of years, Clem really has been destroying Cyril left, right, and center. That being said, he really is hyper-specialized to taking down Cyril. Usually when he goes up against some other Zergs that are technically, if you look at their rankings, a little bit lower than Cyril, he seems to struggle a little bit more. So it's one of those weird things where I guess Cyril's playstyle is just so freaking predictable. He goes for the same things almost every single time that in a weird way, even though Solar, I mean, he's still a very formidable opponent, but in a very weird way, Solar may just be a little tougher for somebody like Clem. Kind of depends as well though on the day. Sometimes Clem just gets that momentum going and he gets incredibly aggressive early on and he just piles on the pressure, and then at some point he just wins almost by accident at like minute 8, just because he gets that momentum rolling and, you know, like an avalanche going down the mountain, at some point he ends up with a win. It's very much so up to Solar as well though, to try and throw the Terran here off, and he can certainly pull it off. I mean, Solar is usually, at least in the early game, quite predictable. He doesn't really do any crazy roach all-ins or anything along those lines, but I have seen him go for a lot of Overlord drops, especially against Protoss. He's a big fan of cheesing Protosses these days, so we'll see if maybe he has something new in store for Terran, but I think across the board, especially in the mid-game, that is when, Solar can become very, very dangerous. For now, though, very normal builds here from the both of them. We do have a second gas geyser going up right now inside of the main base here for Clem, so we'll have to keep an eye out on exactly what the plan is. He did scout in the wrong direction, so it took him a little bit to find out exactly where the Zerg player is located, but at the very least, if you find it, eventually, it should be okay. The gas is a little soon, so where are we going to be spending our money, Clem? What are we going to be building up? Straight starport? Yep, straight starport it is indeed. So this does come at the cost of a delayed third command center. Normally you go for the third command center before taking the second gas. So this is going to force a lot of unit production here for Clem. And he's certainly going to have to make sure that he gets his money's worth out of these early game units. But it is immediately going to put him in the driver's seat, right? Like, he's going to get more units out. And obviously that, well, creates more opportunities to potentially also get the ball rolling. Helium production is already kicking in. I'm assuming we're going to go for a... we already have gone for a tech lab over here. So we'll do the big switcheroo. And then we can eventually add on a third command center. And it's probably going to be maybe as part of the wall off. That's where it always used to be back in the day. I wonder if he's going to go and just plant it down in the main base to maybe hide it from the Zerg a little bit better. Even just bruising the queens here is quite nice. Obviously, the Banshees will be joining us in a moment. And the Banshees can certainly take care of queens if they are already a low HP. For now, though, good movement here by Solar. There's the extra... Ooh, Helion's joining in. He really is trying to protect those creep tumors. Absolutely critical to get that spread going to the third base, but also preferably a little bit deeper out onto the map. We will probably have, so he's going to see the lack of, he sees the timing right now of the command center, so it is indeed actually part of the main base, the natural expansion's wall. So he will definitely go for blind spore crawlers here, knowing that Banshees will likely be coming here momentarily. Normally you don't add those on until a little bit later, but seeing the timing of the third CC, he's even going to get the SCV here building it, or the third CC rather. He kills the SCV building it, and again, this is another one that is vulnerable. Okay, he will know to plant down that spore crawler ever so slightly sooner, and you know what? The absolute worst case scenario right here for Clem happens. he is forced to cancel the third base. That's honestly a disaster. In the meantime, that Banshee gets hard countered. The Hellions really haven't achieved anything. This is going horribly here for Clem. Like, the goal was to get the momentum in his favor early on. But right now, he has to climb a uphill battle. Solar is already approaching the mid-game. Now, he doesn't have a lot of units right here, so maybe this right here can be the great equalizer. He's going to try and push those Hellions into the base. Brenda, though, makes herself look wide, and we are going to see some of the drones die. 7, 8, okay. Acceptable. Banshee going in around the back. I mean, this is messy. But I don't believe that Solar is entirely unhappy about it. I mean, yeah, 8 drones is more than you want to lose, but it wasn't in exchange for 6 Hellions and a Reaper. It really is not cheap for Terran to just throw that away. Misfire right there from Clem. Could have had an extra worker. Very soon the Overseer is going to be joining the Queens as well, and that will certainly, yeah, slow down the advancement here of those Banshees. For the time being, though, Clem can still be a little bit annoying, and he does get 11 workers there for his troubles. It's better than nothing, I will say. But I really think he was hoping for a bit more. Yeah, I think he maybe has caught up like 10 seconds worth, whilst being slowed down like a minute's worth, if that makes any sense. So yeah, he did catch up a little bit. But this is by no means a great position here for the Frenchman. Okay, Bench is being annoying. Yeah, you know what? If you can get another secondary console, okay, you will. This all is shaving some time lost off for what Clem has been playing here for a bit. He's going to finish 1-1. Stimpack is already done. I'm assuming we're going to be going into the good old combat shields, and that is going to make life a little bit better. You will be able to go maybe for like a cheeky medevac drop or something along those lines. I'm actually boosting this medevac backwards here. Maybe ready to pick up the tanks and go for some pressure. Yeah. That is indeed the goal. Bailing Nest is relatively late. Solar going pure Hydra Link for the time being. As a matter of fact, he's even going for the +1 missile research for those Hydralisks. So that is indicative of him really wanting to double down on Hydra production. Something we've been seeing more and more from the top level Zergs lately. That game that Cyril actually played on this very same map against Clem comes to mind, where he went for like a very quick +1 armor and then a Hydralisk timing attack, completely catching Clem off guard. Let's see. Hydras are dancing together with the Queens. It's a little bit of an odd combination, but the Queens are actually kind of like roaches in this scenario. They can sort of tank the shots from a distance and, yeah, maybe prevent the Hydralisk from taking a ton of damage. In the meantime, there is a Zergling run by as well over at the third. One siege tank up on the high ground. Ugh, killing some of his friends. 7 SCVs end up dying, and this push right here for Clem is really not going anywhere. Maybe if we can inch the siege tank further forward, but I think the better course of action is just to go back home. Yeah. And the big picture right now for Clem is that he is starting to let this game slip out of his hands. Supply-wise, everything is fine. Upgrades-wise, everything is fine. But this is Solar not even in his final form. Losing a bunch of Hydras would be a bad start right here for Clem. Or for Solar, rather, for the remainder of the game. But I think this is all manageable. This right here, though, does have some potential. It's just that the Hydra count is big enough. And they do have 1-1 upgrades. Those 1-1 upgrades on Hydras are noticeable. Baneling speed is going to be done momentarily. We've got ourselves a hive about 80% of the way done. I would imagine we're gonna go, yeah, a lurker den makes a lot of sense. Alternative choice would be Ultras. Usually you don't build Ultras together with lurkers, but regardless, either of those two choices is going to be really, really good for the Zerg. That being said, though, men with gun, don't underestimate them. They are dealing a lot of damage, and is Clem capable of pulling a rabbit out of a hat? The French magician over here. Oh, there's Baneling speed, but Solar hasn't had the time to really produce any Banes. Clem is getting a ridiculous amount of value here out of these early game units. Sniping the Fort Hatchery here would be absolutely massive. Solar was actually becoming a little bit complacent there with his unit positioning, and he decides to just straight up, oh, rip off the band-aid. That's insane. And somehow, some way, we find ourselves on a Ruby Rock just about a minute or so after I said that the game was a disaster for Clem. with a 1-0 advantage for the Terran player from France. Look, that is Solar going for a glass cannon unit composition. No splash damage in the army just yet, but he had a plan, right? Like, he was going to go Hydra, Lurker, with probably Vipers for support, Zergling, Baneling with run-by potential and all the rest of it, but he wasn't quite there yet. And those engagements he took, just literally a minute or so before having a completely unbeatable army, those engagements he took, they were very suboptimal. Clem knew he had one opportunity to strike, and he needed to get a little lucky, admittedly. But he got the job done. I don't think he's gonna be pleased with that particular window. Like, that's one of those wins where you will see the player just shake their heads. Like, they know that it wasn't really supposed to be their game to ultimately obtain the victory in, but hey, honestly, if you get the job done, that's all that really counts in the end. I do think, though, it's important for Clem to put himself past that win. It's a little weird, right? Normally I say that exact sentence when somebody has to put themselves past a loss. Likewise, though, for Solar, I do believe that he needs to put himself behind that, because he was honestly playing a very nice game of StarCraft. But, yeah, that's what happens when you are going effectively pure Hydra. Hydra are, in my mind, really like a supportive unit. It's kind of like playing, I don't know, mass sentry. Sure, yeah, you can do mass sentry, I guess. Technically, it should work, kind of. But you probably don't really want to stick around on it for too long. It's one of the reasons why Hydras are generally not really a core unit composition anymore. I mean, obviously they deal a lot more damage than sentries do, but they're also really quite expensive. And really, if you have like a handful of Zerglings in front of them, just to allow the Hydras to get within range and to have something to tank for the Hydralisks, then they can really get the job done. If you have overwhelming numbers, obviously, Hydras on their own can also get the job done, but it really is advised to have something in combination with the Hydralisks. Triple command center or triple hatchery opener right here for Solar. It is not, by the way, going to be a triple command center just yet, as Clem is again going for an identical build. I find this a little bit surprising. We'll probably again have this at like 4.5 minutes or so as part of the Naturals wall-off. Clem is gonna try and effectively play the same game again. I don't think, though, that it was successful as far as builds go in that first game of the series. Like, Clem knows that it just barely tipped in his favor at the end. Getting a queen kill, though, would be a really lovely start. Getting a couple drones here at the third base without losing the Hellions would also be really nice. So far, though, none of that really happening. Solar will again see the timing right there of the opponent's starport, and he immediately fires up a lair. There's indeed the third command center. Started up at about 4:15 or so. Fair enough. Yeah, so you do put yourself behind a little bit. Like, if you look at the income at this stage in the game, it is going to be less good for the Terran than it could be. It's not terrible. It's only a little bit of an advantage for Zerg, but this is a base that can saturate very rapidly. And Solar's economy is going to be difficult to match here in the near future. Extra barracks on the back of this. Spore crawlers coming up. This is an old school build, by the way. Like, this is how Terrans used to play for a really long time. Here we go again. This time around, though, it's less links than what we had in the previous match. It's because the majority of them are still at home defending. Double Evo Chamber coming up. We should really be targeting the SCV down, but I think Solar, yeah, now he hits it, but it's a little too late. Solar is preoccupied. Bit of a different follow-up, though, here from Solar. No, actually, I say that. He's again going Hydra, then. The timing is a little bit different. Same for these evolution chambers here. I wonder if he's going to go +1 missile again. So wait, are we actually just playing the identical strategies as we did in the previous game? Keep in mind, of course, that in the previous match, that third command center did not finish nearly in time. Clem being forced to cancel it really did throw, well, everything, yeah, it slowed everything down so much. So we'll have to see what the actual build was supposed to be like. Nice grenade. Sorry about that, Brenda. Dang. Smells like chicken. There we go again, though. +1/+1 coming up. And it's +1 for missile. So, yeah, even though I think the Hydras... Oh, he gets a kill on the 4th base this time around, too. The Hydras were shaky in the previous game. Right now, Clem is off to a much better start. Not good. Not good here for Solar at all. Ranged upgrade here for the Hydralisk first, yet again. I'm not sure, though, exactly what Solar was aiming for in that previous game either. Like, he basically ended up going Hydras early, right? And then he got the double upgrades for them done. Nice. And then his plan was to transition to Lurkers with Banelings like 5 minutes later? Was that really the original goal? Or was he originally planning on going for a big push with like Hydra Ling or something along those lines? Kind of what like Serral has been playing lately. And what he did beat, well, Clem with several times. Is that what he's trying to do? Like... This is a variation on the theme, I suppose. Serral was opening up 2 base Hydras with only a single armor upgrade rather than double evo. So this may be just like a higher eco version of that build, but then in the previous game, Solar never really pushed. Here we go, though. Zerglings are going to get the wraparound on that first tank, and the Hydras are already tiptoeing forward. Keep in mind, they don't yet have their upgrades done, but they have overwhelming numbers. At this point, there's just more Hydras than there are, well, Marines, and I think that will always work out favorably for the Zerg player. So are we gonna do anything with this army, Solar? We're gonna get the 1-1 upgrades done. We're going to upgrade the Hydralisks fully. Do we do anything with this army? Or are we just gonna sit here and go Hive, and then go Baneling Nest, and then go Lurker Den again? Because I kinda hate that. I feel like the time to strike is right now. If you wanna go, I think you gotta go. Maybe he's waiting, though. Yeah, I think he's waiting for muscular augments. That's the Hydralisk movement speed. Just seconds away now. They're going to be able to slither a little bit quicker. Here we go. Maximum slither. Engaged. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Okay, so just like Serral before him, Solar is doing a weird Hydralisk timing attack. Is this good? Well, I mean, if you get the Zerglings in like that, I guess it can be a nice start. Is this good? Maybe? The Hydras are killing a ton of the Marines, I will say, and they are starting to break through. Dude, what is going on in 2026 Zerg versus Terran? Like, if you ask most top-level Zergs out there, they will consider Hydralisks like maybe a D-tier unit. They're considered to be bottom of the ranks because they're only really good in support with other troops. But now it's pure Hydra, basically full glass cannon. Very little survivability, but a ton of damage output, and it actually kind of works. I wonder if that's why Clem was also opening up with a delayed 3rd command center, because he needed additional unit production earlier on. Wait a second, is this like entirely changing the meta now? So let me get this straight. This early game was miles better for Clem than it was in the previous game. Previous game really did not start off for Clem well at all. Clem ends up winning it, right? Now narrowly, and I don't think it really was meant to be, but he did end up winning it. This game goes way better. Solar goes for a big Hydra push and just sort of wipes Clem's economy mostly off the map. I mean, I say this as somebody who thinks Hydras are like the coolest unit that Zerg has. I'm actually very excited to paint some Hydralisks as soon as those miniatures are available. The Hydra minis look awesome, but really? Is this what we... Is this StarCraft Brood War? The 3rd command center is actually just a straight up trouble. Now, Clem did finish 2-2, which is gonna make those men with guns way better. Again, though, SCVs are being pooled, and that means a load of them will die. Wow. What a strange series so far. So wait, hold up. I just believed that Clem was the one GGing out, because that fight went about as good as it really could have for Solar. But if I'm not mistaken, Solar decides to just... Yeah, he decides to straight up leave. So, hold up right now. 2-2 finishes, right? Oh my god, can I even... I can't back up fast enough. Hold up, I have to slow down the game first, and then we hit pause. Right. This is Obviously, Clem then getting the second point on the board. But Solar just killed 36 SCVs with his timing attack. Now, I understand that this follow-up here for Clem is really dangerous, and that Solar really is effectively all in. There's no Baneling Nest, there is no Lurker Den, he doesn't have a follow-up at all. But this GG is not one I agree with. Now look, I understand that that was not a great setup for Solar. Don't get me wrong. By no means what he was hoping for, I suppose. I guess he wanted the game to be over with at that point in time. And as soon as he realized, okay, Terran finished 2-2, I may as well just go ahead and leave. But he didn't have the full information in that game. Right? Like, I had full information, and I think the game wasn't great for him, I guess. But I also didn't hate it, because he just destroyed so much of the Terran's economy. I would have been less surprised with Clem GGing out than Solar GGing out there. Which I guess says enough of the state of the game, right? Like, that is certainly not the moment where you should already be leaving. Regardless on whether you... like, maybe you believe that the game is over, right? But I still think you should stay in that match for a little bit longer. And this is a tendency that pro gamers sometimes have, where they believe that they have one way to win, and then that is the only way to win. So if you don't win with it, you may as well just leave because you do not believe that you have a chance to win against the follow-up of the opponent. Maybe in ladder games, it's okay. Just know you're probably rage queuing. You're probably rage queuing at least a little bit too often. But I think in a tournament series, come on. This particular series is from the PiG Sty Festival, which is a $10,000 event. I think you can fight it out for a little bit longer. And I honestly think Solar was at an advantage there. It always seems insane to me whenever we see pro gamers GGing out, whenever they are like 30 supply up. I understand that he didn't really have much going for him anymore, and that it was 4-base versus 4-base, and that the worker count was maybe not as great for Solar as he would have liked it to be, and the upgrade count likewise was also not ideal, but too early of a GG. Way too early of a GG. Okay, well anyways, next up, we find ourselves on everybody's favorite, the Celestial Enclave. I hope we have something Celestial as well in the upcoming StarCraft 2 map pool. Yeah, or maybe something a little... Do I have a demonic voice? Hold up, I think I have like... I have this. Does it... No, I don't... No, that doesn't do anything. I have...
The Celestial Enclave.
We have that button. I would have to move the button around so I can find it a little bit easier. But, hey, we have options, is what I'm trying to say, okay? If the new the next StarCraft 2 ladder map pool is gonna have something spicy, we can work with it. That was my real voice, by the way. What in the world is Solar cooking up now? So, he just lost, I think, 2 absolute tilters of games. Like, both game number 1 and 2. Regardless of how he, that must have been insanely frustrating. What are we doing, Solar? This is a lair 2.5 minutes in. We're going Roach Warren? We are going Proxy Starport? We're going quick third command center over here for Clem this time around? This has the potential to be rock, paper, scissors. With Clem throwing scissors and Solar throwing rock. Yeah. So, it's a Knight is all in right now. I think Solar is a little frustrated. Like, Solar knew that both of those games, I think, were like 98% in the bag. And then he, I guess, decided to, well, in the instance of game number 1, he just took a really bad fight. And I guess that was really suboptimal. In the instance of game number 2, I think he kind of rage quit it. Anyways, maybe he didn't. I'm not sure, but it did feel like it. Now we're gonna go for a full all-in. A 2-base Nidus cheese. Let's see. The Nidus network is done. The worm is going up inside of the pocket expansion of Clem. Now Clem does have a marine nearby, but can he actually get the job done? SCVs get pooled. Oh no. This is a disaster. Yeah, these are like the worst unit when it comes to actually killing structures with. Here's Brenda, Karen, Margaret, and then a bunch of roaches and zerglings popping out as well. Solar may be sort of frustrated, but I think the frustration may work out in his favor this time around. See, rage queuing is a good idea, guys. GG. Everybody knows you can't go out on a loss. You have to instantly queue again. It's the way to do it. And then sure, you may lose again, but you can fix that by just queuing immediately once more. At some point, surely you will win, right? Maybe you're 300 MMR down, and you will still feel horrible for the rest of the day, but you can't go out on a loss. The 3 AM losing streaks, they hit extra hard. Everybody loves them. No, you can't do it. I think every StarCraft player has been there. I don't think you can do it, though. It's a horrible idea. Maybe this is where MOBAs or team games in general just are a little bit better, you know? Because even when you are rage queuing, at least you still have your teammates to rely on. So if you are playing like you know, absolute garbage, you might still be able to rely on your teammates. They're both a blessing as well as a curse. But in StarCraft 2, you gotta recognize it. I've always sort of followed the rule. Actually, if you have a tendency to rage quit, I think the easiest thing, or to rage queue rather, if you tend to do that quite a lot, I think the easiest rule to keep is that no matter what happens, whenever you lose 3 games in a row, you take a bit of a break. Even if it's just like 10 minutes. But I think it's the best thing to do, by far, to preserve MMR. Because I have coached many people over the years. Right now, I'm not really doing any StarCraft 2 coaching, but I've done... Oh my lord, we're doing it again. Wait, wait a second, he's doing it again. I have coached many, many people, and there's like roughly 2 types of StarCraft players, okay? The ones that are very dedicated to it and that will just stop laddering, and then the ones that have like 2, maybe 3 full pages with just like a red match history, meaning that they have lost the last 30, 40, 50 games in a row, with a couple of green games maybe in between, but they're rage queuing for days on end. You gotta try and prevent that from happening, man. So wait, what are we doing, Solar? We have a 3rd hatchery, yeah, but we have a lair done 4 minutes in. We have a roach warren done right now too, and 3 gas in total. He's doing something weird again. Very, very fast overseer, though. This is Otto! Yo! Otto doesn't get promoted all too often. Otto is usually sent out to die. Look at him. He's grown some additional eyeballs. Congratulations with the promotion, Otto. Yeah, maybe you'll die now? No. No, Solar has gotten an additional bit of investment in you. Now he takes care of you a little bit better. Congrats, bro. It was always meant to be. What is Clem going for in the meantime? What is happening in this game? Both players have decided to just throw the kitchen sink at one another. This is another one of those weird games, man. I guess we're gonna go for a little bit of a hellbed push right here for Clem. I will say, though, that hellbed pushing into a roach opener from the Zerg is a terrible idea. Like, it's actually just, it's never gonna work. It's not gonna do anything. Obviously, you still need the armory anyways to go into the +2 attack later on in the game, so it's not entirely wasted. But this is not a push that will likely do a whole lot here for Clem. And it's gonna slow him down a ton, because this start CC... I mean, now it started at like 5 minutes, right? Normal timing of that thing is so much earlier, like quite literally like 2 minutes sooner. And 2 minutes is a long time. At least that's what she said. Yeah, this is an easy snipe right here for Solar. Now, we do have a counterattack with the Marines. I wonder if... Okay, Clem maybe is going to commit and try to kill the 3rd. The problem is, at that point, those roaches are going to march straight into his natural expansion. We have a bunker coming up. I find that bunker almost ambitious. Solar does have enough gas here to... Oh, really? We're not even going to raise the depot? Okay. Yeah, we raised that depot. Congratulations. He's just going to kill this one to basically invite the reinforcements in. I wonder if maybe we can go up the ramp. I don't know, though. Yeah, that ramp is a bit of a meat grinder. Siege tank available, too, is kind of sweet. Solar, keep in mind, though, he may still be incredibly frustrated. So he is just going to throw his units at the wall. Oy, oy, oy. Okay. It's an absolute bloodbath. Clem does seem to hold, but the problem is that he is just not in a good position here at all. There is, of course, that third base on the back of this for Solar. I mean, he was mostly just using it for larva generation. But now he's going to be using it for mass drone production instead. Double Evo Chamber coming up inside of the natural. And while Solar has to back off here, I wonder if now, you know, the emotions have settled a little bit. Right? We have, I think, successfully rage queued a couple of times now. That was a really stupid creep tumor to spread. Maybe we're not quite done yet. He just spread the creep tumor next to the Hellion. All right. I mean, on the, I guess in Solar's defense, the Hellion was on the move. But, like, those sorts of plays? Look, maybe I'm reading into this a little bit too much. I may be entirely wrong. But those sorts of plays we have all made when we're 90% tilted. Well, let's see if it works. Evo Chamber coming up. Baneling Nest added into the mix too. Double upgrades here. Even though we're playing Mass Roach, we're switching to Zerglings, it seems. Probably with Banelings. Maybe eventually with some Ultralisks. In the meantime, Clem, keep in mind, Clem is also playing a frustrating series, right? Like, game number 1 went really poorly for him, but he won in the end almost by accident. Game number 2, likewise, really did not go according to plan at all. At least that wasn't a win that Clem likes to have. Game number 3, he got Nidus all in. Like, I think these are two players that may be rage queuing against each other. It's like a match made in heaven. Alright. Infestor's coming up here for Solar. We have Baneling Speed added into the mix as well. So we're gonna go both Infestors as well as Banelings. Clem is gonna start rallying some additional medevacs towards the other side of the map. Second factory though, over at, where is it? What? I'm clicking the freaking factory. Why is it cycling between the barracks and the other factory in the main? Alright, we do have indeed an extra factory right now inside of the third base of Clem. Which indicates usually we're going to be seeing a extra command center here, a fourth base in just a moment. Alternative choice though for Terran would be to add on 3 additional barracks and just 8 Rex it. Not really Clem's go-to style. Usually with a second factory like that, you do go for an extra command center a little bit before you go for the extra barracks. Okay, yeah. It is indeed going to be an Ultra Cavern, Adrenal Glands, +2/+2. We have a Viper added into the mix. This all indicates, though, that Solar needs to breathe for a moment and just slow it down. There's really no reason for him to YOLO it all in. I guess one problem you do sort of have here as the Zerg is that you... Ooh. Spicy pickup there by Clem, man. Running in the direction there of the Banelings to hot pick up the Marines is a dangerous move. Alright, anyways. It does mean that he needs to get rid of the Roach supply. He's got a lot of supply caught up in Roaches, but... maybe it's gonna be okay. There's indeed, by the way, that fourth command center, about a third of the way done. And then with the next minerals, we'll add on 3 additional barracks as well. And that should basically cover Clem for the remainder of the game. From there, we can start thinking about second starports. We can go into like a Ghost Academy, that sort of thing. But usually, we don't need an additional Rex past 8. This position, though, is juicy, right? We've seen this go really well on White Rabbit many times for Terran against Zerg, Terran against Protoss, Terran against Terran. This is a nice spot for Terran in general with siege tanks. Oh, Fungals, though, are good. Is there a follow-up plant? Ooh, the follow-up is a little slower than I would have liked to see. But you know what? We have a Blinding Cloud, and I think that's what we were waiting for. The Viper was just a second away, and he needed to wait until it arrived. And this is a beautiful play here from Solar. The question is, does he have the numbers? He's making the transition right now to 6 Ultralisks. But the Ultras are going to spawn without +2 armor and without chitinous plating. And we have all seen how that goes before today. Oh, Solar, you need to maintain those units, man. Okay, luckily for you, Clem is scared. These are actually Ultras, though, that are vulnerable against Marines. I think it's fine. I think it's okay right here for Solar. Yeah, if he can just breathe for a moment, get these upgrades finished, it is going to be a huge power spike for the Zerg. And I think we can indeed start going across the map. Important cleanup right there, though, for Solar. Having those extra units out of the equation. Look at Clem, by the way, losing more minerals in this game than Solar has, which is kind of ridiculous. I guess that's what happens when you go for a roach build. Clem is gonna try and ambitiously position a 4th command center here. There's a load of tanks. 2 of them are being pumped out at a time. I think, though, Solar is gonna move through. He's brought additional energy yet again on that Viper. Blinding Cloud on 2 tanks. And this is problematic right now for Clem. The chompers are starting to move in. GG. And suddenly, we find ourselves on Winter Madness with the score all tied up. Can Solar win the rubber match? Can he complete the reverse sweep? We've suddenly got ourselves a series, and I think we have ourselves a series where both players are very frustrated. But does it matter? Does it matter for the fans? It may cost a keyboard. We may smash a mouse against the wall. That's one of the big advantages of running a wired mouse that nobody ever brings up. Ooh, it's really nice for Clem. Getting a drone kill just like that is big. Triple command center opener this time around for Clem. Delaying the 2nd Vespian gas geyser. We are going back to the good old standard. Now, Solar did have his start base delayed, so he decided to go for the one right over here. This has become more and more popular lately. From what I understand, so the norm for Zerg is to take this base over here. But it gets blocked all the time for Terrans. And for a while, Zergs were kind of forced to open up 2 base, which just kind of sucks. From what I understand, a lot of Zergs don't really like playing this map right now with a 3rd base in this location regardless. Because, for example, Cyril has just been taking this one as like his go-to base lately instead. And it's because this base has a Liberator position that is very difficult to reach. So if you bring a Liberator right over here with range, then a Medevac right in front of it, it basically cannot be killed by the Zerg unless you have a Spire. So it just, I guess, creates too complex of a setup. It just is a little bit tough to so yeah, I guess Zergs have been, at the very least, experimenting with this as their 3rd hatchery instead. And it's a, yeah, it's a little bit different. I guess it's just more vulnerable. Usually Zergs will try to expend away from the opponent just because you have that speed advantage. And already we may see some of that coming into play here for Clem. Clem decides to dive deep into the mineral line. Can he at least get an additional drone or 2 for his troubles? One more? One more? Oh, yeah, okay, he does get another one. I don't really love it, though. It's a little bit of panic on the side of Solar, but ultimately that's 3 drones for 2 Hellions and a Reaper. Not quite ideal. We do have a cloaked Banshee follow-up, additional barracks in the mix as well. And then finally, the 3rd command center is gonna go down to the low ground. Now, from the Zerg's point of view, these guys are basically neighbors, okay? And Zergs don't like having neighbors. They're very antisocial people. That's what I've been told. It's me. I'm mostly a Zerg player. I never leave the house. Terrans, though, Protoss as well, they love hugging. They enjoy having neighbors and being close to one another. It's what they prefer. Yeah, it is what it is. All right, we have a couple of Evo chambers now building, though, here for Solar. And we have a quick lair again. No Baneling Nest yet. Solar, are we going to go Hydras again? Like, we did it twice before in this series, and it seemed to be an absolute tilter of a setup. Do we go Hydra Den again? Because this is looking like a Hydra Den build yet again. Or, I guess, Spire. But Spire with Evo chambers like this doesn't make any sense to me. Here go the Banshees, though, together with the Hellions. We'll have to wait just a moment for Solar to make his choice. He needed to make sure that he defends against all of this stuff here first, but I think he's got that mostly covered. One of the Banshees ends up going down. Okay, so we went lair, and then we did... Okay, I was going to say, we did nothing with the lair for about a minute. Ultimately, Hydralisk's Den. So again, no Baneling Nest, no Infestation Pit. We didn't even start up a second upgrade in the Evo chamber. This is just going to be pure Hydra here yet again. I do think, though, that both game number 2 were like 99% wins for Solar. You know what I mean? Like, it turns out only the last 1% really matters for the actual scoreboard. But Solar had game number 1 and game number 2. 99% in the bag. Well, I don't know. It's hard to really say, but I really felt like he was ridiculously close, especially game 2, man. I still can't believe he left that one. I think he's probably regretting it now. Because, yeah, that game wasn't ideal for him, but my god, man, he just killed so much economy for Terran. I really don't think, anyways. Silly. Like, in a weird way, this best of 5 series so far could have been a 4-0 lead for Solar. Like, we were very close to Solar leading this best of 5 4-0. Anyhow. Oh, this is a lovely attack, though, here for Clem. Yeah, we do have some transfusions available. Oh, Spore Crawler sneakily in the corner of the main base, too. Again, no Banelings available, right? So it's just this, like, pure Zerg army trying to hammer it home. Queen's mispositioned. Could have been a kill here on the medevac. Maybe it's still gonna be a kill on the medevac. No, not the case. The Hellions yet again try to find some opportunities, some openings into the Zerg base. But it's not going to happen. Oh, interesting. So we see a Hydra build this time around, and Clem decides to go Drilling Claws. Huh. Yeah. Now, the age-old adage for Terran usually goes that against Hydras you play siege tanks. And then against pretty much everything Link Bane-based, you can play Widow Mines. The problem is that Widow Mines get outranged by Hydralisks. So, I mean, Widow Mines are rarely a bad choice, but I still don't really love it. This is a nice attack, though, again, here for Clem. Somehow, some way, sliding it around the side. Hatchery ends up getting killed because of it. Yeah, and that is something that Solar is lacking here. If you compare that to... Oh my god, wait a second. Hold up right now. Getting deja vu from game number 2 now. Okay. If you compare the vision here that Solar has compared to what Serral always has... Serral always sees these pushes coming in. This has now been Solar getting blindsided multiple times in this particular game. Not ideal. Fungal is really dangerous. Clem, you've seen the Infestor, haven't you? Yeah, okay, he did. He decides to just pick up and get on out of there while also dragging the army of the Zerg away, though. And I wonder if we can do like a little scan over here too, get rid of a load of creep tumors. Man, we have one really juicy scan. Ah, he doesn't quite get the ones on the high ground. This is dangerous, though, for Clem. Fungal growth will inhibit the units from getting picked up by the medevacs. Does get one of the infestors here in the end. That's nice. We have that secondary group of Marines also trying to work away on the right side of the map. But none of this is really working out too nicely here for the Frenchmen. Oh, sorry. I gotta snoop on the message history real quick. Me lag? Yes. Solar, by the way, speaks perfect English. Me lag, crying emoji. Yes, I saw Solar. He sucks. Let it settle. Sorry, go. Ready? Feels awk. My ping is, wait, 500. Control-Alt-F is number going down. I like how Pig is explaining to Solar how to see his ping in-game. Solar has got like 50,000 ladder games logged, man. Yes, wait, me, please. Solar, you speak perfect English. I have talked to you many times. Do the test. Period. Awk. Period. I think we are fine to go. Go. Ready? Awk. GLHF. 3, 2, 1. All right, excellent. Glad we got to the bottom of that. It's so funny, man. Like, you see this as well with a lot of English-speaking people, I guess, that go to Korea a lot. They try to, like, communicate a little bit more easily, I guess, with the Koreans, and for some reason they then start messing up their English more, which probably doesn't benefit anybody in the long run. Anyhow, this fight over here also not really benefiting Clem in the long run, I don't think. Oh, we do need an Overseer. Wait a second, do we not have an Overseer? Dude, there's like 7 Widow Mines. Oh, no. Okay, well, those Widow Mines are rather expensive units. Yeah, now the mines are going to be able to fire another time, though. Although we do have the Overseer nearby. Okay, that's something. Nice splitties here by Solar, it has to be said. Solar is destroying Widow Mines so far in this particular match. I wonder if Clem is regretting it by now. Clem, though, going Advanced Ballistics. So we're going Widow Mine, Liberator, Marine Marauder, Medevac. That is a very tricky unit comp to actually micro against. But also a very difficult unit composition to control. Let's see. Clem obviously is a very speedy player, but Solar is no slouch, as you may have already noticed. Yeah, this is just where Hydras are really nice, man. Like, Hydras will just destroy Widow Mines if left by themselves. Obviously, you need to make sure you have Overseers, but look, there's plenty of those now. Here we go. Hydras dash forward. This is a disaster here for Clem. The creep is being laid down again. Solar is rolling out the carpet. I guess it's not a red carpet, though, because he's playing blue. Now he's going Lurkers as well, together with a Nidus network. That's where the mass Overseer that he is forced to make against the Widow Mines is going to kick in as well. Solar, I guess now, yeah, tying his hands together and becoming more and more like Rogue. +3/+3, though, on the horizon here for Clem. Clem does seem a little bit unfocused in this series, if I may be so honest. It's not that, like, in isolation any of the fights are a disaster, but look, this is the cost efficiency that really shouldn't be happening for Terran. He's just been throwing away a few too many units for my liking. And it makes the whole setup complex. I find the choice to go Widow Mines very questionable here. Maybe, though, he can still make this work. But here we go. Solar is ready to start throwing stuff at the wall. Starting with a Nidus network over here. Now, the first one does get cancelled. Infestor is nearby. We do not have any detection out here. Solar does not... Ooh, he does not decide to unburrow it just yet, but it has very real potential. 3-3 is on the horizon here as well, though, for the Frenchman, which is a massive power spike for these units. Scan does get used to get rid of some of the creep, but he does not scan behind. We are like one fungal growth away from this game being over. Nidus Worm going on again. This time around in the natural expansion. Solar being very slow with it, I will say. I would have fungled about 17 times already. But I guess he wants every... Oh my god, really? Now we unburrow it? Okay. Okay, there's something about patience, and then there is... whatever that was. Ooh, we do get a nice fungal, but with the Liberators and the Widow Mines controlling the choke, there's really not a whole lot Solar can do about it. Nice moves here by Clem. Clem again, on top of the defense at home. Has to be said, it's very easy for one of those Nidus Worms to kick in, and for suddenly the entire Zerg army to be available. Hey, we have another fungal available, by the way. There is enough energy. Again, it could have used it to prevent that army from backing up. Clem, keeps on surviving here by the skin of his teeth, and he doesn't even know it. Burrow, fungal, there we go. Do we have enough right here to actually just straight up clean up the army? I believe he does. In the meantime, though, we do have that Lurker Den again getting shut down inside of the main base. Liberators are good units, though. Yeah, the Liberators actually ended up still killing a lot, but that is, for obvious reasons, a disaster here for Clem. Clem needs to hold on here. He's just about to finish a ton of his command centers, which really does help. Sorry, what? Really? We did it again? Sorry, what? Wait. No problem. What's up? My Battle.net. Other net is fine, though. Cross server be like that sometimes. Sorry. Take some water. Bad servers. Blizzard, please fix. Is OK? Take 1 minute. Water, guys? I think just play ping is going down faster. Clem's getting water 1 minute. Ah, okay. I think I'm ready. Ready? Go. All right. Get water, guys. Water! Water! You got ordered to get water! I feel like this series is a caffeine situation, man. Yeah, I guess coffee has a lot of water in it. Coffee's like 99% water. I guess it counts. Hard to make coffee in a minute, though. Alright, hydration check right there from Clem and Solar. And you know what? I haven't drank any water yet whilst casting this best of 5. Very nice. Okay. Now, as the dust settles, I like this spot quite a bit for Clem. I know I've been complaining about the fights. I know I've been complaining about the income. I know I have not really liked too many things about Clem here in this game so far, but he's built up a really good infrastructure here, and he's got a banger army composition. From here, Terran can really very rapidly build up a ridiculous amount of units. Now, it's important not to YOLO in medevacs full of units, but he does notice and runs it away. Problem here for Solar is that, yeah, he's got 91 workers. Yeah, he's got a bit of a bank, but he doesn't really have an easy way to destroy any of those bases. There is a Lurker Den available, but the Lurkers have done practically nothing so far. The Nidus Worms? Look, I think if we're gonna play Nidus Worms against Clem, we have to go double, maybe triple Nidus even, because he's just too good at playing whack-a-mole. Maybe this is a common pastime in France. I don't know, maybe they have a lot of moles. You gotta hit him with a hammer. And Clem's really good at it. I guess the main problem here for Clem is that Solar is rich, and he has got so many units available as it is. He can very quickly replenish everything too. 90 workers worth of income is significant. Lurkers on the left side easily get pushed away. Hydras again dash forward. This time around, though, the connections are way better here for the Terran. I think it's critical, though, for Clem to get another base up. It's going to be difficult to get the job done. Solar is effectively trying to dig like an imaginary moat around the Terran bases, trying to make sure that Terran does not get another expansion up. And that's exactly why he's trying to push through here. Yet again, though, those Widow Mines together with the Liberators into choke point. Yep, I don't think you can really do too much. And while I didn't really like the Widow Mine choice in the mid-game, it seems to have its place in the late game right now, right? Like, this is a much better setup. Finally, by the way, one of the worms did go up. It looks like we didn't decide to burrow the Lurkers, as the Ghost decided to run on over here immediately. +2 attack coming up as well for Solar for the air units, so he could make a switch to some Corruptors. I wouldn't hate it, but yeah, he's already got a bunch, actually. I wouldn't hate it, but he does need to make sure that he starts reducing the numbers of the air units, especially, because those libs are just poning him, man. Solar is all about poning the libs. Anyways, Nidus Worm gets planted down next to the morphing in Planetary Fortress. That is a lot of flying units gone. Bunch of missile turrets. Another starport. Double planetary. Now look at this. How in the world do you break this? How do you get the job done? You don't. Spoiler alert. You should really just not throw anything at that wall ever again, Solar. Now, speaking of being neighbors, previously we had a third base versus a third base, right? Now we have this upper right-hand corner where the guys are basically sharing a backyard. And Zergs hate that sort of thing. Well, you know what? Maybe Clem hates it as well. Clem is preparing a tactical nuke. If you have a dispute with your neighbor, it is at the very least a consideration you might have to make. Because it would take care of the problem real quick. And it's a relatively, you know, if you ghost over here, scan over here, nuke over, it's successful. In the meantime, though, even though we may have a load of those planetary fortresses on the left side of the map, yeah, not quite enough though. Solar decides to back up, loads a bunch of the troops into the network yet again, then unloads them. We're playing a little mini game apparently. I guess he only meant for the Lurkers to go in. Very curious, right, for Clem to decide to go Widow Mines so heavily in this particular game rather than tanks, even though this was a Hydra opener. I wonder, though, if it is indeed the answer. Now, those Lurkers from the left side of the map have now appeared all the way in the upper right. There are missile turrets, though, and that will be quite sweet. Corruptors again moving forward. Liberator numbers are still decent enough, and that is some good snipies onto those Corruptors. This Lurker is out of range of the Planetary, so the Planetary can't quite clean it up. Denies a lot of mining. Solar still has so much money, right? He even has a fresh base that he hasn't even transferred any drones to it yet. Wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of optimization in that regard. Ooh. That Lurker really tried to find a new home, but did not quite get there fast enough. Okay. So, what do we have here? Where do we end up? Because Clem now has taken a lot of important bases. Honestly, he needs 2 more, and he will have half of the map gobbled up. It is a difficult call to make. He needs this one, and then preferably also the one in the upper right. Now, does he even realize how much mining is going on here? I really love that Solar has dedicated all the workers in the upper right, because that is very likely the next base that Clem will be considering. So, if the minerals are gone, they're gone. Like, they can't come back. They do not regenerate. So, that is one of the shared expansions, and once that shared expansion is gobbled up by the Zerg, it's not going to ever come back. Here we go, though. Clem is pushing through. The cost efficiency must look a lot better at this point for Terran than it did, yeah, earlier on in the game. This late game here has been very stellar for Clem in general. Ghosts really do help out a ton with that cost effectiveness here of the Terran army. And now suddenly he has sliced the Zerg off of their bases and he's gonna find a full mineral line. That's 22 drones. Yeah, they're gonna try and go home. Oh, they split up. Nidus Worms get sniped though. And that will be about half of the workers going down. Quickly, Zerg is trying to run on over in this direction. Banelings are yet available again. Clem hadn't seen them in a bit, but he's got to be careful. Zerglings do get the wraparound. Ooh, Widowmine right there deals friendly fire to both the Medivacs as well as the Ghosts. 13 drones do die. Nidus Worm goes up, down at the bottom of the map, and that base that wasn't previously mining is going to find the refugees from the upper right-hand corner. Clem is apparently now going to send the command center over here. That does mean that the mineral line will smell faintly of Zerg. It's a disgusting, sweaty, cheesy odor. Nobody likes it. But, hey. When the times are tough, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Clem will indeed be building a planetary right next to it. Oh, you know one big mistake? Solar actually only just now fired up 3-3. I just realized that. That's crazy. I didn't even look at it. That is why these fights are so horribly inefficient for him. The fact that he never went for the +3 attack is kind of insane. He's been so ridiculously rich, it's just been a big oversight. Turns out, though, that Solar is going to continue fighting here for this base in the upper right, and that honestly may be a mistake that is going to cost him dearly. We've had so many fights, well, for at least like 10 minutes or so, where Solar should have had those upgrades done, and instead he hasn't, and it's really dwindled his bank very rapidly. If we look at the income, yeah, you can tell when the mules are mining and when they aren't. If we look at the army size, it's been okay for Clem. But really, like, maybe there was a chance, right? Right over in this location where, well, Solar could have capitalized if he would have had those upgrades fully finished. It's really hard to say. There's so many moving parts. But it is a mistake that can certainly cost you. Wait, does he not have adrenal glands either? Oh, no. Dude, wait. Whoa. He just GD'd out. I'm not blind, right? We have Pneumatized Carapace, Burrow, Link Speed, Bane Speed, 2, 2, 3. Oh, no. Dude. So wait a second. I think we were still raging. Like, we were raging whilst playing a macro game. Solar effectively was like 99% of the way there in game number 1 and 2, and then he loses it. Game number 3 was the Nidus all-in. Game number 4 was another bit of a spicy one. Then in this game, our first proper macro game of the series, Solar is incredibly far ahead, but he doesn't get +3. He doesn't get +3 missile either, and then he doesn't get adrenal glands. That is 40% attack speed for Zerglings.